Okay, so this is part 2 and it's about part 2. A video I made shortly after Illuminati part 1. And again, I defined the Illuminati differently historically. And in recent years, I started breaking down the word, which is called an occult cut-up. Masonic wordplay where you get El-U-Min, who is the deity, is an Egyptian deity, an ithyphallic deity, a deity often portrayed with an erect penis. El-U-Min et I. For those of you who don't believe me, please look it up, okay? Because I wouldn't make that up. El-U-Min et I. Okay, I don't lie, okay? I just don't. My life is probably not going to be much longer. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be shunned by attractive women till the end, okay? There's no reason to lie. I'm not trying to impress anybody, just telling you the truth. Okay. Part 2. In part 2, I bring up the definition of Baal in the dictionaries I came across on the internet. Some say that it is the name of a pagan false idol. Some say it's the name of the one true God. So they're saying, you know, one could argue that they're saying that Baal is the way that the pagans of the area referred to the Almighty, and that it was still being used that way. Okay? Now, I don't buy that explanation. When I looked it up, it gave me the impression that the reason why it's saying that is because the people in charge worship Baal, okay? And of course, over time, you connect it to Zeus. If all these people accusing people of worshiping Baal had pointed out that he is Zeus's Greek equivalent, much more people would have believed them. So why didn't they? Okay. I bring up that white people were reinventing themselves as chosen, right? That this, you know, there's certain groups of white people, right? We see in history the Nazis, referring to the Jews in this case, but, you know, it was a common thing. Now, they're not the only ones, because remember, this is about the Illuminati, right? Which is a group that was formed in the West, right? In Germany, in the Bavarian region of Germany. So it is retarded for me to go through every single race in the world and explain what they're doing, okay? So I'm talking about a conspiracy that originates in the West with somebody who's a Jesuit professor, okay, and I believe it's called Ingolstadt University, okay, who resembles the Jewish people, who's very much associated with all these Rothschild guys, or Amschel and Jacob and so on and so forth, okay? So I said, yes, this group is real. The activities in terms of the clandestine activities of globalists that conspiracy theorists are talking about is real. And I'm going to tell them what they need to know. And I'm going to make it clear that if you don't explain the Egyptian connection, that they stole these ideas from black Africans, that you're not doing anything. You're just one faction of the Nazi party, so to speak, you know, exposing to some degree the other faction so that you can reinstall that faction. But it's even worse than that. You're just the shells of this central organization that is using the military, the police, the teachers, the news, using everything you can imagine to make sure things go a certain way. And it's what we see historically in small white towns, for example, with like the Klan, right? They're working behind the scenes. Some are mayors, some are police, some are in the military, some are teachers, so on and so forth. Okay, some are in the churches. Okay. So I talk about how organizations are using sex, money, and bribery to disgrace themselves and take over, and some are better at it than others. I say that white people stole gunpowder from Asians, and the ideas to build civilizations from Africans. Argue that the main people doing it are using the knowledge to be the most evil devil they can be, and they bring down all who follow them and share their spirit. Okay, I say that not all whites are evil. This is key. I say that not all whites are evil several times. Okay, and in the first one, you know, in part 1, I ended by saying we're still waiting for your apology, Mr. White Man, right? So I'm not being racist, and I can't be clear about that enough because it's kind of terminology. This is 2009. I'm about 27 years old. Okay, I'm gonna turn 28 shortly at that time, and I'm saying it as directly as I can, right? And not trying to, you know, see how this is causing me to explain, if it causing me to make this video longer than I wanted to make it, okay? And that's why I'm saying the white man, because everyone knows what I'm getting at. Okay, so I say again, and then I clarify briefly. I say that not all whites are evil, and keep in mind this is 2009 and not 2023, as people are about to be sealed in hell with my flesh when my flesh dies, excuse me, which means all people who did not obey God through me in time are evil. Okay, it's important to note that too. Okay. No one will be able to redeem them after my flesh dies or anyone's offspring. That's very key here. Okay. So again, going back to the part 2, I bring up that black martial art kings and those loyal to them were using the knowledge to help people. Also that white people were hiding in the Caucasus Mountains in caves. Now I don't give a shit if they were green. I don't care who you know. These are the facts here. Okay, they were hiding away from the African martial might. Now, am I saying this saying nah, or yeah, I'm better than you? No, these are just the facts. In order to understand the Illuminati conspiracy, remember this is 2009. I wasn't really intensely doing martial arts till 2009. I wasn't intensely returning to martial arts until 2010 or 2011. Okay, so I'm not saying, hey, I'm this big bad. I don't look that impressive in Illuminati Part 1 and Part 2. To make a long story short, my hair is scruffy. I'm wearing a wrinkled tee. My old faded Mariners hat. Okay, I don't look that impressive. So why was I saying this? Because it's the facts. And again, and at this point, I'm highlighting that it's similar to Hosea 10 and Revelation and Luke 23, where Jesus said, then they'll say to the mountains and the hills, cover us and hide us from the wrath of God. And that's what happens in Revelation. Okay, there's strong parallels. It's like the same idea. The Ballists are hiding from the martial art majesty of the Royal African Falcon Martial Art Order. And that's what Illuminati is about. It's about a divine order. That's what the Illuminati series is about. It's about the divine order. Okay? It's about the truth. It's about these ancient Eurocentric people stealing these ideas from the true children of God, who are the righteous, and the only people who are righteous are in the martial art order. No one is righteous but God Almighty, and His Son, and those who are in complete submission to them, because then they're part of the Spirit of God. And that's the Royal African Falcon Martial Art Order, and I prove it definitively. Remember, this video is 14 years ago. No one has even made any significant effort in the last 14 years or better to try to disprove me, because they have conceded my point. They resorted to sabotaging instead. Why would they do that? Because I'm right and I'm Christ. Okay. I argue that people's deeds make them wicked, not whether or not they believe in God or not. I mentioned that the Bible says that anyone who sins is a devil, and this is contrary to popular Christian propaganda. That's why I brought it up. The fact that people do not concede this point by their actions shows that they do not truly understand it. I mentioned that the Masons signed the Declaration of Independence, as many people were mentioning at that time. Lots of these signees of the Declaration were Masons. I bring up that a massive network of people with a central command infiltrated the news networks in the Vatican from the bottom to top, so to speak. I argue that I argue that I am a man who can't be bought. I don't have a price. And all these years later, you see that I'm not being embraced by women. I'm not being embraced by society. I'm being persecuted. I have 23 witnesses on record. You can tell by the way I'm making videos and what I'm saying that I haven't sold out, and I will never sell out. I remember I posted a song that was from when I made when I was younger, when I was 16, which is well before. When I was 16, that's like 97 or so. That I say, you know, they want a ball and ignore the deeper call. Y'all through stress me speaking about women. I say the white man will never conform me. And to this day, that is still the case, and it will always be the case. I am the Son of God, and I cannot change my mind. I say that my European brothers are misbehaving, so I call them out on it, and that's what I'm supposed to do. I say that I would hope that they would remove the log out of their own eye before removing the twig from the black community. This is key, because we see a lot of these arguments like crime. They say, all these guys, these criminals, lock them up, da-da-da-da-da. So we see all these white people, rich and poor, da-da-da. Obviously, some white people argue that they're wrong. Okay, again, I tell you, for the umpteenth time, you know, I judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Okay, but we see all these people, white, black, and otherwise, they're arguing. Remember, this video is about white people, specifically the Illuminati, right? And how they spread to other people from the West, mind you, from the West. Okay, made in Germany, okay, made in Europe, the Antichrist movement, the main one, okay, and Egypt and Israel aren't in Europe, and that's important that you know that, because people are acting like they don't understand the implications of that, and I don't care what race you are, but those implications are important. So they have to remove the log from their own eye and get right with God before they complain about the relatively petty crimes that the black community has committed when in comparison, in contrast. Anyway, banking groups and other peoples with various interests are on both sides of wars and in key areas of playing both sides. We just shoot through this. They have global interests and aspirations, is what I was saying. I say, let he who has wisdom, let them see the truth that he or she might rise and do the right thing, that they might rise and do the right thing. Not just say, hey guys, this is what's going on, but rise and do the right thing. I say that this is the first step when people introduce you to these ideas, and the second is to do the research so that our collective work can expose this and we can rise, right?